The Notorious is coming back in 2021 with a vengeance and plans to fight multiple times, starting off with his trilogy bout against Dustin Poirier. Composed today, Conor looks like a completely different man than he was before. Here's 10 things you didn't know about Conor McGregor. Number 1. Welfare checks while fighting. With McGregor's cars, clothes, and accessories, you might assume that doing MMA is a great way to get rich. While this is certainly true for established stars like McGregor, most fighters find themselves in quite a hole until they get picked up by an established promotion like the UFC. This was true of McGregor as well. In fact, just before knocking out Marcus Brimage in his UFC debut, McGregor was forced to take on social welfare checks. Now we all know McGregor as not only the great fighter but also the great businessman. He's out here collecting $100 million paydays from his fights with Floyd Mayweather and growing his Proper 12 iconic Irish whiskey. To go from welfare to a business mogul and famous fighter in just 5 years is incredible. Number 2. The fastest win in UFC history. When Ronda Rousey emerged as a star, she quickly earned a reputation as a ruthless finisher, whose opponents rarely made it past the first round. She set a record by submitting Kat Zingano in only 14 seconds into their championship fight. McGregor, however, has surpassed Rousey as the fastest finisher in a UFC title fight. He has knocked out all-time great Jose Aldo in only 13 seconds to win the UFC Featherweight Championship. McGregor's left hand is unmatched, and he caught Aldo coming in at the right moment. Believe it or not, he also was practicing this very move right before the fight. It's as if he knew this was the exact way he was going to knock his opponent out that night. Number 3. Plumber in the morning, fighter at night. Casual fans might think that McGregor is nothing but a brash and arrogant athlete. Those who have followed his career more closely, however, understand that he uses trash talk to promote fights. We even see now that he doesn't really trash talk at all. Coming from humble beginnings, he is actually a down-to-earth person who appreciates everything he has. Long before reaching the pinnacle of MMA, McGregor was working as a plumber apprentice. He quickly realized that his passion for fighting was too strong to ignore and gave up the trade. It was an all-in attempt, giving up the chance for a good job to follow his dream. It's hard to see an MMA world without the notorious Conor McGregor. Number 4. 4-second KO. Winning fights by knockout in the first round has become a career-defining trend for McGregor. However, some of his knockouts have almost been too fast to believe. Anyone who looked away while watching McGregor's first fight against Patrick Doherty in 2011 likely missed all the action. It took him only 4 seconds to land 2 devastating punches and knock his opponent out. This is the first fight that got him viral and started the train that we all love, or hate. His rise to fame is attributed to both his quick wits inside and outside the ring. Number 5. Obsession with fighting. With McGregor's affinity for expensive cars, designer suits, and general luxury items, one might assume that his mind is not always focused on fighting. However, those who know him well understand that fighting has always been his number 1 priority. In the documentary, The Notorious, McGregor explains that he has always been obsessed with fighting. He would wake up in the early hours of the morning and practice kicks simply because he couldn't get his mind off of training. Number 6. Supporting gay rights. Given his unprecedented popularity, one might assume that McGregor would shy away from taking stances on controversial topics like gay marriage. However, he is not the type of person to stay silent when he believes something must be done. In fact, McGregor became one of the most famous Irish celebrities to be vocal in support of gay marriage. He says that at the end of the day, it all comes down to the fact that we are all human and deserve respect. He did the same thing recently with COVID-19. Understanding the impact of his voice and reaching out with his communities. Conor has received a lot of love from the community, but he has also returned the favor. Number 7. Held world champions in 2 divisions in 2 organizations. With his devastating and seemingly effortless knockout of Eddie Alvarez, McGregor captured the UFC Lightweight Championship. This was a historic achievement as he became the first UFC fighter to hold 2 championship titles in 2 weight classes at the same time. However, while this achievement was a first in the UFC, it was not a first for McGregor. He had already captured 2 world titles in Europe's most competitive organization, Cage Warriors. This tells you how skilled and prestigious Conor's career was, even before he stepped inside the UFC octagon. Number 8. Bullied as a kid. It might be shocking for fans to learn that McGregor was often picked on when he was young. Long before becoming the most devastating knockout artist in the UFC, McGregor was often bullied. He was a small child and attracted a great deal of attention from bullies. Luckily for his fans, it was bullying which drove McGregor to learn how to defend himself. He started learning martial arts and boxing and never looked back. Today, he gives back by giving speeches at schools about his experience with bullying. This also grew that chip on his shoulder, and possibly his obsession with boxing and fighting. Conor has mentioned that he would wake up in the middle of the night or early in the morning, thinking of practicing more martial arts. It's hard not to make that connection from being bullied as a kid to his obsession of martial arts and who he is today. Number 9. Committed to his relationship. Conor's commitment to his teammates and coach has earned him a great deal of respect from the martial arts community. However, what is arguably more important is his devotion to Dee Devlin, his longtime girlfriend. The two have been together since 2008 and their relationship has stayed strong despite McGregor's worldwide fame. A couple of years ago, they welcomed their first child into the world, Conor Jack McGregor Jr., and now they welcome his sister with another child on the way. Conor has said that he wants to provide them the best, and in one of his quotes from 2013, he states, "When that gold belt is wrapped around my waist and my mother has a big mansion, my girlfriend has a big car, and my kids' get everything they ever wanted, then it will pay. Then I will be happy I lost my mind." Number 10. Amateur boxing champion. Detractors who have voiced their opposition to McGregor's upcoming fight with Mayweather have constantly pointed out McGregor's lack of boxing experience. While this is a valid point, McGregor does have a legitimate amateur boxing experience. Before he branched out into other martial arts like karate and BJJ, McGregor was an incredibly successful amateur boxer. He even became the All-Ireland champion as a youth boxer. He certainly needed to use every second of that experience in order to keep up with Mayweather in August of 2017. There's the 10 things you didn't know about Conor McGregor. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to subscribe and like the video to get more MMA news, highlights, and more from the channel.